This is Gemara and Taanis Daf Zayin. All the learning should be should be so chaim in the version. Miriam Bersi. It's a good shan. Es v'shan amal kol marachem es v'shan. Es a good pas v'shendel. As well as chesfur Shem Shal Yisben and Vredim and Vivig chaim es v'shan. Zin raise the service. Can't to v'sim es chaysev yisel mendel. Haliyah the parents shall leave Shem as nami v'shavig v'shachan shmal v'til din l'chan meizu v'chaim v'asin at din mechin mendel. Seeing a very no nechel v'es v'ern as el hurev v'shem tazim echlester. Aliza bilas leisar at v'soich shar chayle Yisrael. We're holding on the very top of Daf Zayin Amud Aleph. We actually read these last few words. I just didn't have the page in front of me. These are the words of Rav Papa. This is discussing when the chassan greets the kala, the rain. It's incredible rain, and the rain bounces and shoots back up. And when the two are meeting, he said a beautiful tefillah maidim of thinking Hashem. And we concluded, you conclude Raiv Haidais or Kel Haidais, and says Rav Papa as we pick it up from the top line of Zayin Amud Aleph, Hilchach Nemrinu L'Taravayu. You say both of them, Kel Haidais v'Raiv Haidais. And now we continue as it got to Fame usually does, just themes, thematic Gemaras. We're middle of discussing rain, and we discuss another statement of rain. Grain is greater than the revival of the dead. And says the Gemara, because it's equal. Therefore, the bracha is inside Tchias HaMeisim. So we have a bit of a debate over here. Rav Avua says rain is greater, because rain is for everyone. Tchias HaMeisim is just for the tzaddikim. Whereas Rav Yossi says no, rain is equal to Tchias HaMeisim. Amar Rav Yehuda Gadol Yom HaGesham Ki Yom Shena B'Torah. The day of rain is as great as the day of Maimon Har Sinai, the day the Torah itself was given. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Yerav Kamotar Lichi, that my teachings should drip like the rain. Vein lekach ela Torah. Shenemar Ki lekach Tov Nasati Lachem. Torah si al ta'azavu. I've given you a good teaching, a lekach. My Torah you should not forsake. So we see that the rain is equated to the giving of the Torah. Rava says no. It's Yoiser Miyoshin about Torah. It's not as good as that day. Rain is even greater. Shenemar Yerav Kamotar Lichi, as the pasuk says that the lekach, the teaching should be like rain. When you have an equation, what do you compare to the other? The small thing we equate with the larger one. So in the pasuk, the lekach is somewhat smaller than the matar, which is even greater, and thereby says Rava, the rain is even greater than the day the Torah was given. Rava continues dissecting this pasuk. On one hand, the pasuk says the teachings, the Torah should drip like rain. Uksev, but then it says in the second half of the pasuk, Tizal Katalim Rasi, that the speech should be like dew, like tal. So what is it? Is the Torah like matar, rain, or Torah like tal, dew? Says the Gemara, Im Talmud Chacham Hagenu. First one of the line, Talmud Chacham, about 10 lines down. If you're a Talmud Chacham Hagen, a proper Talmud Chacham, Kital, it's like dew. As we've seen, dew is always good. Vem lav, Arfayu Kimatar. But if you're not a proper Talmud Chacham, you don't behave in the right way, then the rain will destroy you, or fire will break your neck, God forbid, like a violent rainstorm. Tanya, similarly, we learned to the Brayz, Rabbina would say, you learn Torah for the right reasons. The Torah is the most beautiful potion. It heals you, the elixir of life. Those who grab hold to the Torah, it's an Eitz Chaim, it gives life. And furthermore, the pasuk says, it's going to be a cure to your lisharecha, to your navel, to your entire body. Furthermore, it says, when you find the Torah, what do you find? You find life. However, it's poisonous, it could kill you. It could break your neck, God forbid, like a violent rainstorm. Arifa means to kill. We know they break the neck. And that's the difference for someone who learns for the right reasons, lishma, for knowledge, to get closer to Hashem, and someone who learns, God forbid, for the wrong reasons, for honor, to fight, etc., and then it will destroy him. Says the Gemara, Amar Lei, Rav Yirmiyah, Rav Zeir, about 20 lines down. First word in the line is Egla Benachal. Rav Yirmiyah says to Rav Zeir, Leisi Mar Lisni. Come, let's learn. Amar le cholish libi, I don't feel good, and I can't teach you something in halacha. She says, okay, limra milsa de garata, tell me something small, tell me something easy, or tell me an agarata. Amar le achem Rav Yochanan, what is the meaning of the pasuk? Ki adam eats asadeh. The pasuk says a person is like a tree of the field. What does that mean? Is a person a tree of the field? He's a person. Because the pasuk says the pasuk says that what you do with a fruit tree, you should eat the fruit, and you can't cut down the tree. And the pasuk also says, regarding a non-fruit tree, you can eat it and cut it down. Explains the Gemara. Ha-ketzad, 2 lines from the medium-sized lines. If you're a good Talmid Chacham, we eat you and we don't cut you down like the fruit tree. Get destroyed and cut down. And that is again another difference between the appropriate Talmid Chacham and the opposite. Amar Rav Chama on the first medium-sized line, continuing the theme of Torah. Today's daf is really the daf of Torah. All of us learning Daf Yomi. It's a bit of a chizik. It's almost like a Musar Shmuz today, Baruch Hashem, giving us the chizik, the inspiration, the encouragement to keep on going. Amar Rav Chama says, Rav Chama, Amar Rav Chanina, what is the meaning of the pasuk? Barzel be barzel yachad. One iron sharpens another iron. And the pasuk concludes that a person could sharpen another. It teaches you. Ma barzel zechad mechadis chaviru. Barzel sharpens, the iron sharpens each other. They sharpen each other with halacha. And similarly, Amar Rabbi Chanan on the third medium line, we had this already, that Talmidei Chacham get very fiery because the fire is burning inside. Says Rabbi Chanan today, why is the Torah like a fire? Shenemar, as the pasuk famously says, Hashem is a word not like fire, says Hashem. To teach you, to teach you, fire does not light a single piece of wood. You can't light a fire on its own. You have to have the 2 pieces of wood together. After Torah does not work when you are by yourself, when you don't learn with someone else. What is the meaning of the pasuk? The pasuk says, a sword upon those abadim v'noy alu, those who are alone, v'noy alu, and they become foolish. So we have a sword on someone by himself, and he becomes foolish. Explains the Gemara. Cherev al seinenim shalmidei chacham. Of course, sein eham is a euphemism. A sword on the Talmidei Chacham, God forbid, they learn by themselves. And not only that, they become foolish. The Pasuk says that they become foolish. And not only that, they end up doing Averas because they don't learn properly. So we see not only become foolish, not only is there a sword on your neck, but you end up doing Averas as well. Another Pasuk that says, Nayalu Sarei Sayan, the officers of the Sayan have become foolish. Hidu es Mitzrayim, they led the Egyptians astray. So what do we see? We see not only is it foolish, but you also go astray, you also do Averais. When what? When you are by yourself. And of course, this is the chizik to learn with the Chavrusa, or at the very least, to listen to a shir, to learn with someone else. All these are different ways of ensuring that one does not learn incorrectly, one does not get messed up, one does not become foolish, and one certainly does not, God forbid, do Averais. It's continuing. Why is the Torah like a tree? To teach you. Because I got the one little fire, one little twig, light up the whole tree, the whole forest. After me, the little ones sharpen the greater ones. I learned to laugh at my Rabbeim. My friends, I learned even more. But the most from my Talmidim. Rav Chanina bar Baba Rami Ksiv, he asked the contradiction. It says in the Pasuk, Likrat Samei had tell you, bring water to the thirsty, which means that the teacher, the rabbi, should go to the Talmud. But the other pasuk says, if you're thirsty, go to the water. So which one is it? Does the Talmud go to the rabbi, or the rabbi go to the Talmud? Explains the Gemara in Talmud Haganu. If he's a good Talmud, the rabbi should go to him. Let him come to you. Rav Chanina bar Chama Rami Ksiv, 4 lines from the white lines of Chanina bar Chama, asks the contradiction. The pasuk says your wellspring should be Yifaitu, should spread outward. But yet, a different pasuk says it should be for you inward. So what is it? Again, explains the Gemara that you spread outward. Then you are to yourself. Again, the Maila of the Talmud Hagam, one with good midas, the Rebbe goes after him. If not, he has to go find the Torah for himself. On the last medium-sized line, if you're thirsty, go drink water. To teach you in the first very wide line, water you put up top, it runs down low. You have to be humble. Torah is equated to three liquids: wine, water, wine, and milk. Pasuk number 1, that's like water. Pasuk number 2 on the third wide line, we see it equates it to wine and milk. How do you store water? How do you store wine? How do you store milk in the most inferior of kalim, as we'll see in a moment, in earthenware kalim? You have to have a humble das in order for the Torah to be fulfilled in you. And now the Gemara says a story illustrating this point. The daughter of the Caesar says to Yeshua ben Chananya, I don't understand, you're such a smart person, but woe is to the glorious wisdom that's in a terrible vessel. You're an ugly person. Amar Allah, he says to her, Avicha Rami Chamra. The money de pachra? He said, where does your father put his wine? He puts him in money de pachra, in earthenware vessels which are also ugly. Amar Lei, she says, El b'may nirmu, where else should we put the wine? Amar Lei says to her, Atan, you de chashivitu, Rabbu Manu de hava v'kasva, your nobility, so your wine should be in silver and golden vessels. So she says, you're right, why is the wine in earthenware vessels? Azla, she goes, and she tells her father, and she puts the wine in the silver and the gold, and what happens? Of course, v'takiv, and it spoils. Asuv amrulei, they came and they said, Amr la lebrate, man amr lecha, hachi. Who told you to do this? Who told you this ridiculous idea? Amr lei. So the daughter responds, Yeshua ben Chananya, Karua. So Yeshua ben Chananya is called into the Caesar. Amr lei, amay amr la. Why did you tell my daughter this silly thing? Hachi amr lei. I just told her, just like you're telling me, why are Talmidei Chachamim in ugly vessels? I told her the same thing. Why is your wine in an ugly vessel? Says the Gemara, and that's what proves to us that the Torah is only Mekayam in an ugly vessel, and someone with Taita Shveila, he has to be humble. But I asked the Gemara a question, 1 second. We know that there are beautiful people that learn. We know the famous stories of Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish, beautiful people. Says the Gemara, as we turn over to Zayin Beis, he have a sanu tve'avi gemiri, whatever that means. If they would be not as beautiful, then they will learn even more. And again, the point over here is to hone in on the humility. That's the most important, not to be a bal gaiva. Davar achar, says the Gemara, another explanation of why Torah is like wine, water, and milk. How do these items spoil when you don't think about them? When you stop thinking about the Torah, that's when you forget it, when you don't review. Going back to the theme we spoke about in Amar Aleph, a rainy day is as great as the day that the world was created. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Harifu shamayim imal. The skies will shower from above, ushchakim yizlu tzedek, and the heavens will rain down righteousness. And the pasuk continues, Tiftach eretz, the earth's going to open up, v'yifru yesha, utztaka, and salvation and tzedakah are going to come, tatzmiach yachad, the earth is going to spring up everything together. Ani Hashem barasiv, and the pasuk concludes, and these are the most important words, I am Hashem that created it. Biratim loy nemar. It doesn't say that Hashem created in the plural, Elo birasiv, in the singular. So what do we see? We see that Hashem is honing in on the rain, that Hashem created the rain, showing the greatness of Hashem. Says the Gemara in the first white line, Rav Aisha teaches us a day of rain is great. That salvation, Yeshua comes via the rain. The end of the previous pasuk, the earth will open up and will give salvation. Now we get why the rain comes. First we dealt with how great the rain was. Now why does it come? Says the Gemara, third wide line. The rain comes. Why? When we don't have any averos, we're forgiven. Shenemar, when we're covered up all their sins, that's when the rain comes. That's his name. Rashi points out the Ziri, and then there's the Ziri Midahavis. He says to Ravina, you brought the previous pasuk. I have another pasuk that says, and you listen in the heavens, and then you're going to forgive. So we see that when there's forgiveness, when there's kapara, that's when the rain comes. When is there no rain? When Klai Yisrael, God forbid, against the name Shal Yisrael, euphemistic word, when we are, God forbid, condemned to being destroyed. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, he lines into the white lines. Sia gam the dry and the warm season are going to gezel, they're going to steal the waters. She'ol chatu, because they've sinned. So what do we see? When are the waters stolen? When do we do aveiros? Another statement. Another raya. Pasuk says, I'll close up the heavens and you're going to be destroyed very quickly. Why are the rains withheld? Because there's no chumas and ma'aser, people are not taking off the tiths properly. Shenemar tia gam chami gazlu mi meishelik. My mashma, we're in that pasuk to be anything about chumas and ma'asers. Taanis Yishmael b'shol devarim shetziviti eschem. The pasuk says shenemar tia, things that I'm commanded b'mosachama v'layasita mi gazlu meichem b'meishelik mosachisham. When you don't do the right thing in the summer, you get nailed. In the winter, you don't think of the right chumas and ma'asers. Then in the winter, you don't get your rain. Amrav Shimon and Bazi and Gesham Netzarna El B'Shvil Mitzab. So we learned about being humble. We learned about the fact that if you don't think of the right chumas and maesters, and now we see that if someone talks lashon hara, it causes the rain to be withheld. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Ruach Safain Techayel Geshem. That the Ruach Safa in the northern rain holds back the rain. When there's Lashon Seser, when there's secretive talk, that's when there's no rain. The rains are not withheld. For which reason? For someone who's brazen, someone who's a chutzpah. That why Vayamanu Revivim? Why is there no more rain? Why Malkush Lehayu? Why is there no more other type of rain? Because you were not embarrassed and you did terrible aveiros. Someone who has chutzpah, so if nichshal ba'aveiros and end up doing an aveiros shnemar, we see from the fact that he wasn't embarrassed. Of course, one of the traits of Klal Yisrael to be a Baishan, if you don't have that trait, unfortunately, one could end up doing terrible Aveiros. Rav Nachman Amar b'yaduach shenichshel ba'aveira. It doesn't just mean, he will do an Aveira. He did an Aveira. Shemar haya lecha. It says it was to him, lo nemar yiyeh lecha, that it will be to him in the future. Says the Gemara, Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna. We're holding about 20 lines from the bottom of the Amid. The first one line is Rav Huna. Kol adam sheish la'azis panim. Again, if you're a chutzpah, mutar likra say Rasha. Shnemar has ish Rasha b'fanav. Ranach yitzagamar mutar l'sayin. You could hate him. So his person caused it not to be rain. We could call him a Rasha. We know he did Aveiros. He did Aveiros in the past, and can even hate him. Shnemar v'aspanim yisayna al tikri yisayna ela yisna. Amar Rav Ketina and Gesham Netzarna el b'shvel. Itol Taira, everything always boils down to the lack of Taira. Shnemar ba'atzaltem yamecha hamikoreh, through the laziness, the roof falls down. B'shel atzlos sheyebi yisrael, because of the laziness. What laziness? Shaloi asku ba'Taira, and how much lazier could it be one be nowadays to not learn how Taira is so accessible. If you're lazy and you don't learn, what happens? Nasu sayna yishal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, become an enemy to Hashem. Mach and you're going to become mach, which Rashi says means impoverished. Excuse me, the Gemara says, "Vein mach elo ani shenamar v'machu me'erkecha vein mikra ela Kadosh Baruch Hu," and mikra means Hakadosh Baruch Hu shenamar makara b'mayim ali Yosef. Rav Yosef Amar Yochanan, another source, v'atoloi ra'u or by here, and you will not see the light. Excuse me, v'atoloi ra'u or by here. Hu b'shchakim, skies are going to be patchy. V'ruach avra v'titarim, and the wind that blows are going to clear them away. That is not going to be any rain. The Gemara now explains, Vein ar, what does it mean? There's no ar, ela taira, shnemer kiner mitzvah taira ar, ba'hiru b'shchakim, what does that mean? Tanat ve'rishma, afilu b'shah, sherikia nasa ba'hirin la'irital. It's about to rain. Umatar, it's about to have dew, it's about to rain. Still, what's going to happen? Ruach avar v'titim, the winds are going to blow and clear it away. For which reason? Because we said, because one's not learning taira. Another issue, because people are stealing. Shenemar al kapayim kisar bavin kapayim kisar, because of your hands. If your sticky fingers you're stealing, you cover over the light. Vin kapayim el chamas, you grab improperly. Vin shenemar min chamas yer kapayim vin ar elamat shenemar yafitz anan oiroi maita kante. So now, very interesting. We just had a whole list of all the terrible avirs that hold back the rain. We had the bittul teira, we had the chumas hamaisers, we had the lashon hara, we had the chutzpah. We just had gezel. Now the Gemara says, what's the remedy? So what do you mean, what's the remedy? Don't do all the above. As we'll see in a moment, what's the remedy once you're there? You're right. To prevent it in the future, go back and do all those things right. But now there's no rain. What do you do now? Of course, as is always, whenever we have an issue, what do? Yarbeb itfila, says the Gemara, 6 lines on the bottom. Shenemar ve'itzav alav b'magifa. As the pasuk says, and he was commanded in the magefa. Bimafkia, ve'impegia ela tefila. Again, Vayitzav Allah, Hashem will command that there will be rain. Bim mafkia, because of the mafkia. What's mafkia? Says the Gemara Tefillah. Shenemar v'atal t'zbal b'adam hazeh v'al tifka bi. V'amar Avami made the slave. What is the meaning of the pasuk? Imkar barzel. What is the meaning of the pasuk that says if the iron is dull, v'ulay panim kilkel, and the edge is not sharp. Rakia shakia kabarzel. You see the sky is dull as an iron. There's no dew, there's no rain. Because of the actions of the generation, they're messed up. You should increase your rachmim. Meaning, obviously, take advantage of the wisdom which is greater. Excuse me, I skipped. The chayolim yigaber, says the Gemara, that the chayolim, the armies, they're going to win. But the pasuk concludes, v'yitra in hechshir chachma. But the wisdom is even greater. Kol shekein emokshem ma'aseh meikara. And certainly, if you fixed everything like we mentioned before, if you do everything in the beginning, you don't mess up in the beginning, you won't have this issue. If you see a Talmud, let's move over to tomorrow's daf. Daf Chav Amud Aleph. Shelimudai kasha alav kabarzel. You see, he can't learn; it's not going in. Bishvel mishnasei sheinu misedura alav shenamar v'uloi panim kelkel maitakante yarbe v'yeshiva shenamar v'chayolam yigaber v'yitroin hechshir chachma kol shekin. You know, we'll pick up from there tomorrow. We'll get more into how to learn and keep your brain in order, and that will be Mirz Hashem Daf Ches in the next year.